Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's virtual public meeting. As a quick note, we'd like to let you know that this meeting is being recorded for those that are unable to attend, and the recording will be shared afterward so that you won't miss any important details. My name is Ashley Armand, Deputy Director for Community Engagement at the MBTA, and I'm the moderator for tonight's meeting. We really appreciate you joining us tonight as well. Tonight's meeting is to share information and receive feedback on the MBTA's 2024 Track Improvement Program. I'm joined by Laurel Sanger, our Deputy Director of the Track Improvement Program, who will give the presentation, and we ask that you hold all comments until the end of the presentation. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few meeting controls for folks who are not familiar with Zoom. Next slide, please. Again, thank you so much for participating and joining us tonight. Next slide. We offer interpretation during this meeting. In your meeting webinar controls, you can click on the interpretation, that's a small globe icon, and click the language that you'd like to hear. We're offering interpretation tonight in Spanish, Haitian Creole, and Chinese. Our Spanish interpreter, Liliana, is present, as well as our Haitian Creole speaking interpreter, Mirdania, and our Chinese speaking interpreter, Can. Next slide, please. We'd also like to let you know about our diversity and civil rights. All MBTA activities, including public meetings, are free of discrimination. The MBTA complies with all federal and state civil rights requirements preventing discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, limited English proficiency, and additional protected characteristics. We welcome the diversity from across our entire service area. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit the website listed here to reach out to our Office of Diversity and Civil Rights. Next slide, please. We'd also like to let you know about our closed captioning. You can click closed caption to start viewing closed captioning. As a tip, we ask that you click and drag the closed captioning to move its position in the meeting window. To adjust the caption size, you can click the upward arrow next to the Start Video, Stop Video button and click Video Settings, then Accessibility, and move the slider to adjust the caption size. Our interpreters for tonight will be Lachey Flowers for CART, as well as Sarah and Kaylee. Thank you all three for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Next slide. You can also use the chat for any technical questions that we have. If you have any technical question about Zoom or the features of the meeting, please use the chat function. Our technical assistant, named Tech Support, will attempt to troubleshoot your problem and get back to you. Next slide. I'd now like to go into the agenda before handing this off to Laurel. Our agenda will go over the overview of the work. We're going to talk about our work highlights, upcoming TIP work. TIP stands for Track Improvement Program, Orange Line service impacts for October 2024, what to expect during construction, our upcoming events, and our project contact information. Laurel?
Thank you, Ashley. Good evening, everyone. My name is Laurel Singer. I am Deputy Director of the Track Improvement Program. I am going to be presenting on MBTA's Track Improvement Program, which was stood up at the end of 2023 to meet the GM's commitment towards the elimination of all existing transit track-related speed restrictions and continued improvements towards state of good repair. Since TIP is well underway rebuilding infrastructure and will continue to do so with planned upcoming work throughout the remainder of the 2024 calendar year, the Track Improvement Program has been performing work across all lines of the transit system, red, orange, blue, and green. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. During our planned shutdowns, which we're calling diversions or surges, we also invite other projects on and off track to make improvements to the right-of-way and stations, including engineering inspections, station maintenance, repairs, cleaning, brightening, sometimes lighting upgrades, safety, security, infrastructure improvements. We've also been able to partner with Mass DOT, developers, and public utilities, providing them with unhindered access to our right-of-way, reducing project durations and increasing worker safety. The next slide will take a look at the program's right-of-way infrastructure. Thank you. This slide gives a qualitative overview of the transit system's infrastructure. The number of speed restrictions remaining, this is as of yesterday, September 30th. The approximate feet and miles of the track for our transit system, number of signals and stations, infrastructure age, and approximate weekday ridership counts. We also have this set up so that it's a total as well as divided by line. In November 2023, when TIP was started, MBTA had 191 transit speed restrictions. As of yesterday, our speed restrictions have been reduced to 33. You can see here 5 for red line, 26 for orange line, 0 on the blue line, 2 for green, and 0 for the Mattapan line. It's also important to note that while the track improvement program has our planned diversions, MBTA's Maintenance of Way Operating Department always has and will continue through 2024 and beyond to perform work that addresses track improvement priorities. As TIP continues to work alongside MBTA's Maintenance of Way, we continue working towards further reducing speed restrictions and improving state of good repair, service, and safety. The next slide breaks out our TIP plan diversions by segment. Perfect. On the right side, we have an MBTA spider map. This map shows the transit system with our segments, our diversions numbered and bubbled. These segments correlate to the table on the left. These are the approximate limits of our 2024 TIP diversions planned and completed. We have 5 remaining diversions. Those limits are depicted on the spider map with the dashed lines around them. I will go into the schedule and those limits later in this presentation. Next slide. All right, this slide shows the 2024 plan for each segment, including the information on theoretical trip delay as a result of these speed restrictions that we've been working towards eliminating, and the estimated duration of each plan duration diversion. Excuse me. This was the plan in November 2023. I keep using the word plan. There have been instances where work limits, start dates, end dates, and or durations have and may continue to shift slightly. Next slide. This slide highlights TIP's work accomplishments to date by line. Approximately 192,000 linear feet of running rail replaced, which is more than 36 miles of new rail and almost 24,000 new ties. This is quantities that are system-wide. The top picture is an image of rail being, the ties are being replaced in the top image, and then the bottom right image has rail that's being stacked on site for removal. Next slide. All right, this slide includes 2 illustrations of the transit system. This is a public-facing image that can be found on the MBTA's website. There is a website down at the bottom left corner of this slide. The spider map on the left depicts the transit system slow zones back in November. It shows November 24th up in the top right. That was towards the start of the track improvement program. Almost a quarter of the system was affected by speed restrictions. You can see 22% restricted track. The count at that date was 179, restricted distance of 30 miles. As of yesterday, September 30th, post red line JFK UMass to Braintree TIP diversion, which we completed on Sunday, returned to service on Monday. The MBTA has been able to reduce the restrictions down to only 3% of the transit system. You may also notice that the restrictions are limited to areas of the system that we do have scheduled TIP diversions upcoming, meaning not only is this program eliminating speed restrictions, but MBTA's Maintenance of Way is successfully keeping them off and addressing new speed restrictions soon after they're identified. For awareness to help identify speed restrictions, MBTA's Maintenance Away Department has track inspectors and system repair persons performing daily inspections of the systems. If a potential issue is identified, the section foreman is called to verify and make the determination of the speed restriction and the severity of it. Next slide, please. All right, so these are our 5 remaining track improvement diversions. All of this information is subject to change. Green line is highlighted as proposed here as well. So again, those dates limits could change. OL 5, Forest Hills to Back Bay, will be taking place starting next Monday, October 8th through October 20th. That's a 13-day shutdown with return to service on October 21st. We will be extending the diversion limits to North Station. So that'll be Forest Hills to North Station between October 12th and the 14th. This will be 3 additional days that'll allow MBTA to tackle signals and track improvement programs. This work is not going to be managed by the track improvement program, but another group within the MBTA. Another orange line diversion that we have coming up, we're calling that one OL1. Oak Grove to North Station, that'll be taking place later this month, October 26th through November 1st. That'll be a 7-day diversion with return to service on November 2nd. For the first weekend, similar for this, there will be extended limits that'll be to Ruggles, so Oak Grove to Ruggles between October 26th and the 27th, so a 2-day weekend shutdown. Again, not being managed by the track improvement program, but that will allow MBTA to tackle additional signal improvements. We have 2 red line diversions coming up in November. One we're calling RL6, that'll be Broadway to North Quincy, taking place November 5th through the 10th. That'll be 6 days with return to service on the 11th. RL3, Harvard to Broadway, November 18th through November 24th. That'll be a 7-day with return to service on the 25th. And then our green line 1, Medford to Park Street. This is proposed at the, let's see. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you. All right. This alternative service diagram applies to both of the orange line shutdowns in October, including all of the extended limits. During service hours from October 8th to the 20th, the 26th to November 1st, orange line shuttle buses will operate 2 to 4 minutes Monday through Friday, and then every 3 to 5 minutes Saturday and Sunday. Shuttle buses will be accessible for all users, and personnel will be available at each shuttle stop to assist riders. This information is available on MBTA's website. For each diversion, additional wayfinding and signage will be in place and promptly removed at the end of each diversion. Can we move to the next slide? Thank you. And then what to expect during construction. So during construction, please allow extra time to travel to and from your travel time, and consider commuter rail and fare-free service through the diversion limits. Construction crews and MBTA forces will be working 24/7. There is a phone number, on this slide, that is available, and we encourage all of our customers to reach out if there are any issues with construction-related concerns. We will be monitoring and mitigating noise, vibration, and dust whenever possible, but again, please feel free to reach out and let us know if you think there's anything we can do better. Next slide. Ashley, I believe this is you.
Thank you, Laurel. We'd also like for you to learn more about the track improvement program through our meetings like this one. So tonight you're here at our virtual public meeting, but we'll also have station pop-ups, which you can attend as well. Our next one is on October 31st at Broadway Station. Alongside that, we'll also be out in the field again on December 3rd at Medford Tufts. Next slide, please. You can also contact us through email or by phone or visit our project page. Our email is publicengagement@mbta.com. Here's our phone number, and you can also click on this link, which we'll also share in this chat, where you can access our project information. Next slide, please. Okay, and with that, we'd like to open it up to the Q&A. If you'd like to share a comment or ask a question, you can use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen and submit your typed question or comment there. We'll alternate between reading questions and comments already submitted and then recognizing those who'd like to pose a question verbally. We'd ask that you can be brief or as brief as you can be so that we can make sure that we can hear from everyone. And if you wish to share a question or a comment verbally, we ask that you use the raise hand button. For those joining on the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing the star and then the 9 button. All the attendees who speak any other languages, Spanish, Chinese, Haitian Creole, you can raise your hand to provide your comments or questions verbally, and our interpreters will hear that and repeat your comments and answer aloud as well. When we recognize your name, you'll be unmuted and then you can speak. And after you share your comment, we'll lower your hand and then you'll be returned to the muted state. Before we open up the question and comment segment to the public, we'd like to invite any elected officials in attendance or their staff to ask questions or make comments. Please use the raise hand feature so that we can recognize and unmute you. Let's see if there's anyone in the room in space. Okay, looks like there are not tonight. So with that, we'd open it up to the public. At this time, if anyone has any comments or questions, please use the raise hand feature or submit your comments in the chat and we will get to you. All right, going once, twice, 3 times. Anyone have any questions or comments for the project team? Bruce, what about the diversion? What question or comment do you have? Would you like me to call on you? You can raise your hand or you can write that in the chat.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Bruce.
On the diversion November 5 to November 10, this is going to affect the amount of track between Broadway and North Quincy. The speed right now between Andrew and Broadway is already 40 miles per hour. So it seems like you have removed the speed restriction between Andrew and Broadway. What needs to be addressed is the track between, actually, when the red line exits the tunnel and goes into the JFK UMass station, you're at 10 miles an hour. So I see that area needs to be worked on, but I don't understand why you need to have a diversion between Broadway and North Quincy if your speed is up to 40 miles an hour between Andrew and Broadway, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'll take that. Hey, Bruce, I'm Ryan Jordan, Deputy Chief of the program. As part of these surges, something the public may not know as much, we don't just do work on speed restrictions. We also do state of good repair work. So we'll work in that whole area if possible. And it gives us the chance to things that may pop up in 3 to 6 months or a year that could be a speed restriction. We work on them during that time frame.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Bruce. Any other questions or comments? Dirk says, thank you for the work and the presentation. Thank you, Dirk, for your comment. We appreciate that. Okay, David Lumpkin says, I want to give a huge thanks to the MBTA construction team for their hard work in eliminating all of the slow zones on the Red Line Branchy branch last month. Also, a special thanks to GM Philip Eng, aka the man with a plan. Thank you, David, for your comment.
Thank you for the team.
Any comments or feedback additionally? We appreciate that, Chris, and thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. Okay, Dirk asks, what is the expected timeline of the new track?
What's expected lifetime of the new track? And that can.
What are you
that can
referring
dep-
to?
Can you
Oh,
hear me,
sorry.
Ashley? Yeah, sorry. That can depend. Full depth construction, you're looking at 25, 30 years. Some of this work will have to be redone within, 10, 15 years, but we're coming up with the maintenance plan to ensure that, we do not end in a situation like this again, that we maintain the system and we continue improving. The maintenance away team will be ultimately responsible for that. So hopefully you'll never see a track improvement program on this scale again.
Any other questions or comments?
I think Dirk had one more here. Was any of this planned before Phil Eng's arrival? There was track work planned, but this plan itself was done after his arrival. This particular plan.
Once the tip is complete, will the MBTA resume nightly track work during overnight shutdowns?
There will always be shutdowns on the system. Some of them will involve track. It just will not be as involved. You won't see these 24, 26-day shutdowns. But in the future, you will see, mini surges, maybe weekend work, and then maybe some 7-day surges, but not at the frequency that we're at now. There'll be a lot more spread out and should not impact the ridership as much.
Thank you for that. The next question is, can something be done about the curve entering Harvard Station?
Only if we build a new tunnel. So that's a tough one to solve. So nothing in the works at this time to address that.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the questions, and everyone. Any other questions or comments? And thank you for the positive feedback as well. Is a rehab planned for Quincy Center Station?
Dirk, we're not involved in the station rehab. I'm assuming you're talking about the station, but we can certainly get you an answer tomorrow on when Quincy Center is looking to be rehabbed, if it is at all.
Derek, I'll take down your information and we'll reply back to you once we receive that response. Anybody else with questions or comments? Will the Green Line closure be moved up due to the derailment today?
It will not. That's in a new area track. Really don't want to comment on the cause as of yet, but it will not be.
And in terms of the derailment, this section of the system is not part of the track improvement program and is currently under investigation. We're fully committed to addressing this issue to prevent it from reoccurring. If you have any further questions, you can email us at publicengagement@mbta.com and I will send you that email as well. Any other questions or comments? What is the explanation for why a speed restriction is lifted and then a few weeks later the speed restriction is reapplied to the same space? I think that's what you're referencing, Bruce. Can I unmute you just to make sure that I'm accurately reading your question? One moment. Okay, you're unmuted, Bruce.
That's correct. Reapply to the same space of track.
Yeah, Bruce, I don't know of any instances where the same exact speed restriction was in the same spot that we fixed. We have had areas in Ashmont that we did 9 months ago where we had a speed restriction pop up. But I mean, the key to this program is that we're going to be able to address these in, an overnight shift of work. And it's usually a very small issue. We're not replacing all the track out there, so a lot of this infrastructure is still old. We do our best to identify anything that needs urgent repair and identify the state of good repair that hopefully we don't get anything in 6 months, a year. But at times it could happen.
Is maintenance of the signals at JFK UMass planned due to the signal problems they encountered today?
Now, whenever we have a surge of this size, I mean, I think there were 160 signal bonds out in the track. Getting those all to work correctly usually takes a couple of days. We went through a very similar situation on the blue line. It's just the amount of work, the disturbance we did. We took every piece of signal equipment off the track and reinstalled it. It was a lot of new equipment, so we always run into these troubleshooting issues, the week following.
Thank you for that. Can you talk about the need for a new track access point in North Cambridge? What are the reasons for building this project and what will it enable us to do for maintenance in the future?
It's not part of TIP, but I know that the access into that tunnel area is very scarce. It's really First Street Gate in Cambridge, so there's no access to get maintenance vehicles in and out easily. So this will enable maintenance away in the future to have another access point that's much easier, that connects to both tracks, northbound and southbound. Right now, First Street is very small. It's in the middle of a major street, Main Street in Cambridge. So this will relieve that pressure on maintenance away, giving them another access point.
Thank you. Carla says, thank you for the answer and your work thus far. Thank you, Carla. We appreciate you and thank you for writing the tea.
Thank you,
Any
Carla.
other questions or comments? Going once, twice. I see applause reaction. Wonderful. Any other hand raises? Appreciate you, Dirk. Any comments? Of course, Stefan. Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you joining us tonight. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at publicengagement@mbta.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you. And thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Bye.